Hi, I'm Dennis from the OKSDM YouTube channel, and with me is Amanda from the Misfit Adventurers YouTube channel. Thanks for joining me, Amanda.
Absolutely.
We're going to ask some questions about specifically running a homebrew campaign versus running a pre-made adventure. And what are the differences between those if you're trying to figure out whether you want to spend money on a book or spend time writing your own adventures. Hopefully this will help you figure out which path is best for you. So our first question is, does the prep you do immediately before the session, so like the day before or the hour before people get online or come over and start playing, does that preparation look different when you run a homebrew adventure versus running an adventure out of a publication? I'm talking like, not like the world building in the weeks before. I mean, the hour before when you're rushing to get everything set up.
Yeah. Honestly, when I think about it, it's really not that different. My session prep has always been pretty much the same. I just get my stat blocks together for whatever monsters or characters are going to show up, and I have my, I don't know, my typical, I don't know, I normally have like conditions and costs and things at the ready just in case. And then I just sort of read over whatever I plan to cover. And my homebrew stuff, I write everything down beforehand or write down what I want to hit. It's a little bit more open-ended, so you don't really have all the information because the players are going to fill that in. But it's the same basic process. I just sort of read through some things, maybe take a couple notes, and then have my like stats and stuff ready to go. So not really much different there, for me at least. Might be different for somebody else, but
So when you're running a published adventure, because I've run a published adventure like once in my life,
yeah.
everything has been homebrew for me. Do you have the actual published adventure like open in front of you at all times?
I do. I always have it at the ready. Yeah, just in case they ask a question that I don't immediately know the answer to. What is it? Is it Control F just to quickly search and
Okay, yeah.
all right, is this listed anywhere? When in doubt, make it up. But I typically have it there. And if it's like a big published like campaign module, I fill that thing with tabs and sticky notes, and I'll like write notes off to the side. My Cursive Strahd book, next to every character, I write like a silly voice next to it, so I know what to sound like when they come up.
I always have that problem, like forgetting what a character's voice sounds like.
Yeah.
When you do write your own adventures instead of working out of a publication, do they look like publications? Like, do you format them the same way?
So the first time I made like a homebrew campaign, I wrote it out in like a Word document. It wasn't super neat and it wasn't great. But my newest campaign, all right, I want this to look nice. I want it to be very organized. So it's has a table of contents and like appendices, and whole 9 yards. So yes, mine kind of does, though I guess the difference would be the published modules, they're complete. It's all there. Whereas the campaign document is not. You've got the beginning and maybe some of the world building lore stuff, but then it's really just waiting to be filled out by what the players do.
And so when you have an actual full publication in front of you, is it any easier to find the stuff you're looking for than when you're looking at the document you wrote yourself?
Honestly, it really, really varies. I just remember in Cursive Strahd, there will be tiny little itty bitty bits of information that they'll bury in there that ties into something in some completely other chapter. And unless you've read through the whole thing multiple times and taken notes, it's impossible to find, even with like a glossary or index or whatever. So it's still sort of a jumbled mess. Honestly, it's easier to find things if it's digital because you have like a keyboard shortcut to find
Right.
it. Otherwise, you're really relying on your own note taking to be able to reference that stuff.
So do you actually take notes even though you have like the published adventure in front of you as well?
I
Not
will.
specifically about the campaign, but like when you're reading through it, you write a note document before anything even happens.
I literally I remember reading through Curse of Strahd, and I would like if I found out that different characters were connected to each other, I would write a little note in the margin, be like, this person's related to so and so. This person has these motives, things like that. Just to jog my memory, because otherwise it's a lot of flipping. You might have to flip all the way back to the NPC section in the back just to figure out what somebody's personality is, which takes too long.
Right, right. And like I assume, at least for me, writing it down or like typing it out makes it easier to remember. I don't
Absolutely.
like when I make notes, I don't even look at the document half the time. I just make the
No.
notes and never pull it up.
Yeah, same thing. Like when my sessions are going, if somebody says something, I'll jot it down in a notebook, but I almost never almost never look at it again, but the act of writing it down helps me remember.
Right,
But,
right.
yeah.
So is running a homebrew adventure any more fun for you versus running something that was written by like actual writers, people who write adventures for a living? Like,
I prefer homebrew. I like making it myself. 'Cause I don't know, it feels more personal. If it's a published module, I feel a little distance between the setting and the characters, because it's not my creation, it's somebody else's.
right.
And there's something about something you create yourself that just, I don't know, it seems just extra special, maybe. I don't know. And you don't know exactly where everything's going, whereas yeah, you can sort of bend and adjust the published stuff, but it's a bit more of a structured framework. There's a beginning and an end, and they've written it out for you. And like you can deviate a bit, but it's not quite as free, if that makes sense.
Right. I know in one of your videos you specifically go over the changes you made to Curse of Strahd.
Yeah.
Is there like a community aspect to running a published adventure? Like you can talk to other people and say, oh, this is what my players did when this happened. Because I know in Homebrew, there's definitely not. Like you're the only people at the table that have ever experienced this, probably ever will.
Yeah, I think there is. Just reading through like the comments on that video for Curse of Strahd, just seeing everybody else like, ooh, we made this change, or ooh, we also did this thing that you talked about. Yeah, it definitely feels much more like a community thing because everybody's familiar with the same basic story, and then they're just sort of sharing the different things that they did or the different ways they approach certain scenarios. And yeah, you're totally right. With a homebrew world, it's like, all right, well, here's my world and story that
Right.
you will never understand. Like, it's totally different.
Is running a published adventure, as far as you can tell, any more fun for the players at the table versus running something that is homebrew? My preference is homebrew stuff because it's going to be a unique experience. Well, that's one of the reasons, but it's going to be that unique experience. Like no one else is going to run through this.
Yeah.
Is it more fun if for the players when it's just one individual unique experience?
Honestly, I think that is really all dependent on how it's delivered and how the DM presents it. Because, I mean, in my games, we've done the published campaign before, and we've done some published one-shots, and then we've done our homebrew stuff. And I feel like if it's all presented by the same person, they put their same sort of tone and spin on it, and it all kind of ends up feeling very similar, even if it's not all homebrew or not all published. I think you and the players get out of it what you put into it, regardless of it being your own personal creation or something that somebody else made. if that makes sense.
Definitely. No, I totally agree with that. Like, effort going in is going to equal how much fun you have getting out of it.
Yeah,
100%
absolutely.
agree with that mindset. Well, in the last 20 minutes or so, have already learned a lot about running published adventures and why I should or shouldn't do it. I think I might give one a shot because I've
Yeah.
only run one before for like 2 sessions and then started my entire homebrew world from there. I said, oh, no, I don't want to do this anymore. So I think, but that was like 8 years ago. So I think I'm going to give one a shot. In
Yeah,
the coming
I
years.
I feel like I'm probably gonna go back soon-ish, maybe. I mean, whenever the threat of burnout
Right.
starts to creep in, it's nice to have something that somebody's already done that you can sort of throw in there, and you can find ways to find new inspiration through that too, which can be helpful.
Right. That is one thing I like to do. I don't run the adventures, but I do read through them and say, "Oh, that's so cool! I'm stealing that."
Yeah, I will
I
pick
do
and
that
choose all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Absolutely.
thanks for joining me, Amanda. This was a lot of fun. We could probably talk about this for another 4 hours, but
Easy.
I don't want to edit a 4-hour video. I don't know about you.
You don't want to do that? What?
No.
Crazy.
Thanks again for joining me. If you don't know me, I'm the okayest DM. You can find me on YouTube, and you can find all of where else I am also on my YouTube.
Same thing, Misfit Adventurers on YouTube, and I believe the links to all of our other things are on our sort of YouTube homepage, so that's where you can find us.
Thanks for joining us, everybody, and remember, everything is going to be okay.